Everybody to the thing we call Hawk Talk. Yep, we're going to talk IUP football for the next hour. Jack Benedict here with Coach Paul Tortorella. We have a special guest coming up at about the 6:30 mark. This is our second week at the Elks Lodge, and we're so happy that they were able to host us. The crowd's getting bigger and bigger. We're going to have reservations here before you know it, but no, anybody that wants to come, everybody is welcome. You don't have to be a member of the club. Getting ready for another game of IUP, and we're going to be on the road once again at Millersville at 2 o'clock on Saturday. We will talk about that. IUP off to a good 2-0 start after the victory at Lock Haven the other night. Good to have you all out there and listening on U92radio.com and, of course, with Renda Digital TV. Coach, you had a big victory again on the road the other night, coming against a team that's much improved in Lock Haven, that's for sure. Boy, they had out all stops. They had their biggest game in quite a while, and you guys prevailed, and that's the bottom line of the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. I mean, that's not the Lock Haven of old by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they got a lot of talent, a lot of good players. Their defense is really good. They've got 2 or 3 guys in the secondary that can really play. Their front's very tough. We rushed for like 160 yards, but we earned every yard. I mean, it wasn't easy. But I was very impressed with their defense. And then offensively, the receiver's a big-time player. He's probably up for the Heisman Trophy now after our game. But, and their quarterbacks did some good things with his feet. And, I'll be anxious to see what happens in the East with them.
What they do from now on.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's get to what all the fans want to know, and that's the injury situation. Your quarterback, Karst Hunter, got hurt. Hauser left the game early. Hilton Ridley. Bring us up to date on these guys and where we are here at the beginning of the week.
Well, it's obviously it's early. It's Monday. Probably every guy that got hurt in the game is questionable because we got to see if they can practice this week, and it's still too early to tell that. But obviously Hunter, Adam Hauser got hurt on the third play of the game. Cole Laney got hurt in the third quarter. There's just so many. I can't believe I can't think of all of them. But Cotman, our one tackle, played hurt the whole game. J.D. Younger played every play except one because we were in empty and we didn't have a running back in the game. But he had to play every play after the third play when Hauser went down.
How about Akungo?
Akungo is the same thing. He hurt his ankle. He couldn't go. He couldn't play. He got hurt in the second quarter. He'll be the same way. We'll have to see if he can practice this week. So, everybody that got hurt in the game isn't officially out, but they're not officially in either. We'll see how they progress this weekend and if we can practice them. One of the things we usually hold true to is if a guy doesn't practice at all during the week, he's not going to play in the game on Saturday. It's just not fair to put him out there if he hasn't practiced at least one day. So, we've got some other guys that didn't play in the game that were injured that we're hoping to get back, but it's the same thing. We'll see how they practice this week.
One of those would be Caleb Monaco,
Terrell Williams.
How about Tyler?
All three of them, we'll see if they can practice this week. We've at the end of the day after the game when we were figuring out, getting ready to go back, we ended up in the second half playing with half of our 22 starters were not in the game in the second half. They were the next guy up type deal. Younger did a great job at running back. Marchitelli did a great job at quarterback. Our tight ends, like Marcus Day did a really good job replacing Laney. We had 2 or 3 D linemen step up, play a lot more than we thought they would play because Akungo went down. So the guys that got called on to perform did a really good job for us. And, we had a couple true freshmen play a lot of plays on defense. Wysocki and Goodwin with Akungo going down, that just added more plays for them. So that's why you got 90 players. That's why you're too deep. Anybody that we have out there is good enough to get it done.
Yeah, I think you had stated maybe after the game that if something like this occurred with last year's team, not being as experienced as this year's team, you might have had a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, we give up that touchdown late in the game, and really we stop them there on 3rd and 13. We're going to get the ball with 5 minutes to go, up 10. It's pretty much, we're probably going to win the game. Well, we have an unfortunate play. The ball goes through our guys' hands. They catch it and run for a touchdown. And in 50 seconds, now it's a 3-point game. There's still 5.5 minutes to go in the game. They're kicking off to us. They got all the momentum in the world. And we got to do something on offense. We can't go 3 and out and give them the ball back. Well, we proceed to keep the ball for 4 minutes, drive it to their 35-yard line, and then they don't have any timeouts left because they had to use their timeouts. But if we don't have a good series, like right there at that point in the game, a team that's not experienced or resilient would have went 3 and out and gave the ball back to them and would have been in trouble, to be honest with you.
It's fortunate that Nico Marchitelli was unfortunate last year when Karst went down, but he had an opportunity to play. He's been here now for a few years. Assess the way he played. He had 46 rushes, was 7 for 13, 54 yards passing, and he looked like a veteran.
I mean, he played really well. He ran it when he needed to run it and was very successful. He had some great throws. He throws a great ball. We get down to the 4-yard line, and they call us with a illegal formation that really wasn't an illegal formation. So instead of 1st and goal on the 4, we're getting ready to score there in the middle of the 3rd quarter. We end up getting knocked back, and we end up missing a field goal. So that penalty cost us. If we got a 1st and goal on the 4, we better score a touchdown. So that, in essence, that penalty cost us 7 points. He made a couple great throws to Debner. Probably really the only missed throw was he had Day wide open in the flat. He kind of threw it behind him. Would have been probably about an 8 to 10 yard gain, but he made all the throws. And then the throw he hits Clark down in the 4th quarter on a post down in the red zone, and it hit him in the hands. The quarterback can't do anything but put it to where you get your hands on it. It was covered. The defender was draped on him legally, but when we, as a wide receiver, we talk about if the ball hits you in the hands, you got to make anybody can catch a ball when nobody's covering you. And anybody can catch a ball when it's thrown right to you. Great or good receivers make catches when they're covered. Outside their cylinder. It was a little high. He made the catch on the first. Actually, the catch he made on the touchdown may have been a harder catch than the one that we're talking about that we had to kick a field goal after that play.
Well, it might have been a blessing that you got down 7-0, although you always want to start. But
I wouldn't go there.
I know you wouldn't. But they go 75, but you come right back and you responded and tied the game there at 7-7. We do have on the video the catch by Maurice Massey, and there was some question. It took a while for those officials to figure out if it was going to be good or not. And did the ball hit the ground or not?
No. What happened when you look at it closely, he goes up, catches it, he hits the ground, he's inbounds, and after he's already made the catch and has possession, hits the ground and it's done, it's over, then the ball comes out in between his legs. But the catch was already made and he landed inbounds. So there was, I thought they got the call right there. He made the play. We call big man on little man. Our guy's a lot bigger than their guy, so we threw the fade up to him. It was 2nd and 2. And if we do check and do that, we probably better hit it because now it's 3rd and 2. We could have ran it, made the first down, but he liked the matchup. Our big guy at 6'4" on their 5'11" corner. And you got to give them a ball. We had a couple of those situations later in the game, and those were probably the 2 worst throws Nico made. Were on those situations that we had big man on little man again, and he just didn't give him a chance with the throw.
Is Massey getting into the groove now?
Yeah, he's still a little rough around the edges on his routes. He doesn't really know. He hasn't practiced that much. Totally new offense. When you give him things to do that, like just go get the ball and get vertical. There's not a lot of thinking involved. He's still a little short on his routes at times, not getting the proper depth on some routes. Made a good catch on a slant route, but he fumbled it, and then he recovered it. He got back on it, which was a good play. And I'll tell you, he makes a really good catch on our sideline on third down. It was a really good throw, but it was a tough throw and catch because the coverage was pretty good. We didn't have a lot of guys like uncontested wide open. That's why I said their defense played, I think, outstanding. Every run we had wasn't easy. They just had too many undisciplined personal foul penalties. Like, that would be the negative on their defense. But they played the run pretty well. I mean, we had to rush it. We rushed for like 160-some yards, but we had to run it 40 times to get that. It wasn't easy. And we only had one pass over 20 yards completed. So that shows we don't have anybody. Like, there's a couple plays we ran, hard action. They were playing the run, hot and heavy. I figured we're going to get a guy come wide open. They had it covered.
Didn't happen.
They stopped the run and covered the play action. So I thought their defense, not that their offense didn't, but I thought their defense played very well. But at the end of the day, we had the ball 4 times, not counting our 2 touchdowns. We had the ball 4 times on their side of the 30, 1st and 10. Now, are we going to score all 4 times and score 28 points? I don't know. We'd like to, but we got the chance to score 28 points, the opportunity. We only score 6. We kicked 2 field goals, which is fine, but then we miss a field goal. Although the kicker, the holder, the offensive line said it was good.
Well, I was going to ask you that because some people
you can't tell. I mean, on the video, you can't tell.
We couldn't tell.
But our holder, kicker, and our offensive line said, "Coach, it was good." It went right over to upright, and maybe it was 50-50. But anyway, we lose 3 points there. And then the other time, we got 4th down. We were on, like, the 30. It was a long field goal. We went for it on 4th and 7, and they stopped us. So 4 opportunities to potentially score 28 points. We only come out of there with 6. We let them hang in the game. And defensively, other than in the second half, I know it's crazy to say, but other than 2 long passes, we played really good. But the problem is the 2 long passes led to 10 points. So that's what got it down to a 1-score game.
Was there any thought after Hauser got hurt and JD had to, carry the load? Monaco, wasn't.
He wasn't ready to play.
Any thoughts about putting Cy Clark in? I know you've used him in practice sometimes.
Yeah, he wasn't. We didn't really. We weren't predicting that and thinking that Hauser's going to get hurt on the first series.
Right. Yeah.
So we didn't really work Cy Clark at all during the week at running back. And we were down at wide out with Ridley going down. We couldn't take Cy Clark from the receiver group. So it was. We were down a lot of guys on offense. I mean, 5 starters. We're playing the second half without 5 starters on offense.
Dan Deepner, the veteran,
played great.
Came through for you.
He was our offensive player of the game. He'll be our game captain for the Millersville game. He won every one-on-one that he had outside with their corner. Made a great catch on a slant off of an RPO. Did a great job blocking downfield. He's a 5th, 6th-year senior. Been there, done that, experienced, mature, knows what's going on, basically, and knows that, like, play the next play and just do your job. And he was tremendous. Like I said, he was our offensive player of the game.
All right, good. We're going to be back in just a moment. You folks may know that are watching here, but we are almost dressed identical.
Gray shorts,
right down to the shoes. It's unbelievable after you've been together for so many years. All right, Coach Tortorella and I will be back. We have some questions from some of the fans, and we will be hearing from one of the players here at 6:30. We'll tell you all about that. It's Hawk Talk. We're coming to you live from the Elks Lodge here in Indiana, and we'll be back after we take this time out.
Looking for food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose? The Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an Elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music, events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. Annually giving tens of thousands to local charities. We give back not at the Elks, as an Elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
We're back with you live. We're here at the Elks Lodge with Hawk Talk. Jack Benedict along with Coach Paul Tortorella. We have a nice crowd here gathering tonight. Don't forget the Saturday game if you're traveling across the state to Millersville. 2 o'clock is kickoff. We'll be on the air on U92.5, and that'll be at the 1:30 mark as we get ready to take on the Marauders, who are having struggles. They are 0-2, but, you know, college football or whatever, you just can't take anything for granted, that's for sure. We will have some questions here from some of our fans who have just come in. In fact, people are still coming in. Coach, whenever you take a look at this club of yours, and with all the injuries that you've had, it seems like it's the first time we've had at the beginning of the year that many that you've had to deal with. So it's really good that you've had more depth. You had more bodies in spring ball, and at least they had reps at that time too.
Right.
So that's all plays into it.
Well, it's the glass half full and the glass half empty, okay? Getting them hurts the glass half empty, but the glass is half full because you now develop a lot of depth because you got a lot of guys playing more plays now than they would be playing at any time during the season. You know, Marcus Day, Wysocki, Goodwin, a couple of the wideouts. You know, there's guys playing more that are technically, if you want to call them twos, we don't really call them twos, that are now ones. So, you know, we're developing some depth, but, you know, we got to start to get some guys back, or, you know, we're really thin.
Yeah. One of the questions that was sent to me to pass along to you pertained to the tight ends. You had mentioned about Cole Laney, because Marcus Day did a really good job for you. When did Laney get hurt? What was it?
He got hurt like in the middle of the second quarter, continued to play. Then at halftime it tightened up on him, and you know, he couldn't go in the second half.
Yeah, okay. All right, we have some questions. Our roving reporter, Mark Burdig, is with the group out there. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, and just give us your first name and where you're from and what your question is for Coach Tort.
Okay, Kim from Marion Center. And I was just wondering, did the Mercyhurst going to Division I, did that impact the home schedule for this year? As I noticed, we have 4 home games.
Yeah, I mean, we would have had 5, obviously, with Mercyhurst, 6 on the road, 5 at home. Them, you know, leaving the conference, it's hard to go get a team the 9th week of the season to replace them. And it has to be a home game because we're not going to play 7 away games. So at that point, it was, you know, really a moot point. And at the end of the day, it's so late in the year, if we don't know our team after 9 games, we don't really need to play a 10th. You know what I mean? So, like, it worked out. We wish we would play them because we'd like to get another home game. But Matt said to me after the game, he says, you know, your record's 29-5 on the road. I said, well, let's just play them all on the road.
I'll ask a follow-up, Tort. How does that affect future schedules then?
Well, you're going to have to find a replacement. Now we got some time to do that.
So you have not done that as
No, but we'll have time to do that, and it'll get flipped. We'll have more home games than away games next year, so if we find somebody, we probably will go play on the road.
All right, next.
Yeah, Randy from Indiana. Paul, with your starting quarterback hurt and things uncertain right now, who's your backup quarterback?
Well,
what do you have to do differently this week to prepare? Well, you have 2 freshmen.
Well, we have 2 freshmen. We got a redshirt freshman and a true freshman. And again, they'll both get the same amount of work. And the guy that practices the best will be the next guy. But But Karst may, he may be ready. So, but if he's not, Nico will be the starter, and then the two young guys, whoever has the best week of practice, will probably be the backup if Karst can't play.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yep.
Hi, Coach. Ron Thomas. There seems to be a lot of parity in the PSEC now. I'm assuming that the creation of the FCS, we're no longer getting the FBS types of player, and that's leveling out across the league. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, with the transfer portal and the transfer rules now, like at our level, you're wasting your time going to get a Division I transfer, because if he's any good, he's going to go to another Division I school and not have to sit a year like he has to before. Or he's not very good and he's a problem. So if you look around at all the portal additions in the PSAC, they're a lot like ours. Now, we haven't brought in anywhere near as many as some people. They're Division II transfers. So, Lockhaven has a ton of them. Number one, their best receiver is a Millersville transfer. He's been there for 2 years. Obviously, Garrett Cox is a Millville transfer. Kungu's a Millersville transfer. Monaco's a Bloomsburg transfer. The days of Division II being able to get Division I, it's over and done with. So that's where the parity comes in, because now there's more of those. It's like free agency for Division II kids to go to other Division II schools. Now, there was an instance, too, this year that a couple of D2 transfers in our league who we weren't really even that high on, they actually went to 2 FCS schools. And we were kind of surprised by it because we had played them, and the two guys we're talking about really didn't do anything against us. So it's just the whole dynamic now is – it's kind of watering down some things because you can't get a Division I transfer. And we, in the past, wouldn't take a lot of them, but we'd take the right ones, and they'd be difference makers, like in Irv Charles, who obviously blocked a punt yesterday and is playing in the NFL. So, that will never happen. Like, Irv Charles, another Irv Charles tomorrow, he's just going to go to another Division I school. He doesn't have to sit out the year.
The other thing that's changed, and a lot of these longtime fans of IUP and the PSAC, wasn't it at one time, if I'm at IUP and I want to transfer to another school in the conference, you had to okay it?
Correct.
Oh, that's
no,
right.
It's free agency. We could have been in the middle of preseason camp, and a guy could have said, because classes haven't started yet, I want to go somewhere else. And he can't. Until classes start, they're not locked in. But the thing now is they can go anywhere. Like, somebody came to me and said they want to go to Slippery Rock, and I didn't want them to go there. It wouldn't matter what I thought. They could go there.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about your defense, because against the rush, first of all, it's been tremendous and overall. And you've had to implement some new people because of injuries and departure, what have you. Overall, how you've graded them after 2 games?
Well, I think our front and our linebackers have played very well. I think we're second, and after 2 games, we're second in the country in rush defense. The problem is we're giving up too many big passes. We were pretty good against Ashland, but then the 2 on Saturday were a problem. The first one at the beginning of the second half, and obviously the one at the end that went for a touchdown. Those 2 they can't happen. Now, if a guy gets beat one-on-one, and I get it, they practice too. But on both of those coverage, we had 2 for 1. We had 2 guys covering the one guy, and we didn't cover it right. Because he was their best player. I mean, it wasn't like at the end of the day they were going to go to number 1. He's by far their best receiver. So it shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody out there playing for us on defense in the secondary.
We have that 79-yard touchdown because the defender, to see what he tried to do, John, you may want to run that. It was on the far side from where we were. And the pass goes along to the 40-yard line, our defender to 45. And, of course, he didn't get the ball, didn't deflect it or whatever.
Yeah, he didn't break it up. It actually touched his hands because it happened right. Like I was from here to the camera away from it. He did get his hand, like, it didn't tip it up, but he did get a piece of it. Mm-hmm. But in that case there, he should have just knocked it down with his front hand and secured a tackle with the backhand, or don't go for the ball and just make the tackle. But as you see on the film, there's only one receiver to that side, and it's their best player. Mm-hmm. And we got a corner rolled up and a safety over the top. So, like, if Coach Smith and I sat down and said, what coverage do you want, like, it would be this coverage. That's what's so frustrating and
sure.
disappointing. You're not going to always have the best coverage. We were in a great coverage to stop that, and we didn't get it done. We didn't execute it.
We have a question here from one of the fans. Ask the coach, why wasn't the hit on Karst called targeting?
That's probably the $1 million question. I had them with 4 targetings. They should have had 4 targetings.
Wow.
Not one. There was one in the first half on our sideline where Karst runs out of bounds, and they called the personal foul. But it's as helmet to helmet as can be. Like, so that should have happened. There's one. The one on him when he gets hurt, that's 2 that they didn't call. The one on Marchitelli's 3, and the one on Younger on their sideline that they called is helmet to helmet, defenseless receiver, whatever they term targeting. Mm-hmm. That's targeting. So they should have had 4 guys out of the game.
And they only had 1.
And they had 1.
All right.
Conference call from Steve Murray. He's watching the show.
Well, that's good. I'll show him the film.
Yeah. Invite him to the Elks. Would you do that? Okay. We've got something for Steve. All right. We're going to be back in a moment, and we're going to talk IUP football. We're going to talk kickers and a young man who did a great job the other day helping out with the victory for IUP, and we'll be back in a moment. We're coming to you live with Hawk Talk from the Elks Lodge on Renda Digital TV and U92Radio.com. Be back.
Since 1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served Western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
Looking for food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose? The Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an Elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music, events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. Annually giving tens of thousands to local charities. We give back not at the Elks, as an Elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
Welcome back, everybody. We're coming to you live from the Elks Lodge here, South 13th Street, Indiana. Hawk Talk. Jack Benedict, Coach Paul Tortorella, and Nick Andrasi is with us here, the place kicker who did such a tremendous job the other day. Well, that was kind of a good atmosphere over there, wasn't it, Nick?
For what it was, yeah. Yeah. It was, their stadium's a little weird just having that one side. It's kind of different for me, at least, especially coming from home and especially coming off the win off of Ashland. They're both the sides were going crazy, but yeah.
I got to ask you, kind of introduce yourself to them. Now, you played. Tell us where you played at high school. Of course, you've been here for several years. Fans that are certainly aware of you now, and how you came to IUP.
So I played at York Catholic High School down in South Central PA, out in York. Did 6 years of school there, but including middle school, but doesn't matter. Came here to IUP, really fell in love with the program, loved Coach Torts, just his whole establishing the program, the no BS rule and kind of straight towards the point. And the history of the program is kind of what attracted me to come here. And just the winning program, it was kind of the same as my high school. And it's kind of where I want to be around and
Yeah.
people I want to be with.
By the way, he has the most field goals right now in the conference at 4. All right, you missed one the other day, but I got to mention this, and I don't know how many the fans know, but they had a thing going where if the opposing kicker, misses a field goal, everybody gets a free cheeseburger. Were you aware of any of that? Because whenever you were lining up, they were going crazy.
Not during the game, though. Afterwards, I heard all about it.
Okay,
During,
it was
I was
after.
like just oblivious to it now.
Maybe the official that called it no good got in on that.
Maybe he
got himself a
He got
cheeseburger.
himself a cheeseburger. There you go. I never thought about that. Okay.
That's good.
That's another good one. You know, I hang around the sidelines and wherever during the course of the week and try to learn this game of football from you folks. You had an instance, was it after the game? You got stung by a bee. Tell people about that. That was early in the week, after the Ashland game, right?
Yeah, it was Sunday. Something bit or stung me. I ended up really swelling up, closed shut on Tuesday. So,
It was your eye.
Yep. Was able to get to the doctors, and they gave me some medication to help the swelling and take it down. So it was 100% for the game, 100% now. So
Yeah. How much Coach has an advantage here with you guys, the special team? You have 2 excellent long snappers. Spittler, your punter, is now your holder. And of course, Diebner was there before, and yourself. So you guys have all been together, and you are on the sideline pretty much together too during practice. And how much of an advantage is that?
I think the overall seniority, having all of us together for 3+ years, really helps our case just as a whole unit, and especially having Spittler as the holder now. We can work with him every day during practice, 24/7 if we want to. Helps on the sidelines during games. We can get some reps in before we go out, and I think the practice is what's been helping us the best, though, because we can really work Spittler by himself, just holding, getting that spot down. My thing this season was we want to aim for perfection, but not necessarily make every kick, hit every good punt, snap the ball 100% every time. But in our practice, we want to aim for perfection because kicking, there's no room for error. That little spot can take it completely off, miss, make, bad kick, good kick. But my thing's perfection, and every rep in practice, a little bit off, not good enough, do 3-4 more.
Do you feel that you're getting more distance this year? It looks like it.
Not in particular, maybe a little bit, but
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's kind of tough to evaluate from the booth. How'd you come across this guy? Kickers aren't diamond, but boy, they're so important.
Smitty was recruiting him, and he played a regular position too in high school. Like, he was a good athlete. He wasn't just a kicker. And look at his. I mean, he's as good-looking body type as a kicker. I mean, if we're in a bench clearing brawl, we might let him actually get involved in it, but most kickers would be running the other way.
Yeah.
But he was a really good athlete. Could do, he was a great punter. If you remember, when we started his freshman year, he was punting too, but it was just too much. Punt, kickoff, field goal, extra point. So I think the best thing we did was take the punting, just let him concentrate. His kickoffs have been great this year. Unbelievable hang time. Not only the distance, but the direction's been great. He's been great on kickoffs. 4 for 5, maybe 5 for 5 on field goals. His field goal percentage for his career is pretty good. Like, it's got to be over 80%. So we feel like we got the best kicker in the region, to be honest with you. And Spittler, is starting to come around. He hit 2 bombs on Saturday that flipped the field position. What he was doing was, and you go to practice, we'll be out there in specialty, and he just hits bomb after bomb after bomb. Well, there's nobody rushing, and there's no distraction. Well, what he had been doing, like later in the year last year and in the first game at Ashland, he's getting a snap and catching it, and he's looking at the rush. Well, you can't do that. Just punt the ball. And he concentrated on that, and he hit 2 bombs on Saturday that flipped the field position total. We had a 53-yarder that they had the fair catch, and a 46-yarder and a 56-yarder. And so like our kicking game with kickoffs, field goal, extra point, and punting, and our snappers has been off the charts the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I remember with Spittler, I think in the first game, his average wasn't there, but his location.
That was where he did a better job pinning them.
In
last week, the first week, he put 2 down inside the 15.
Right.
On Saturday, at the end there, he didn't get off a very good punt, and the ball bounced backwards, and their guy grabbed it out of the air, and they didn't even have a returner back there. And you don't really want to see what would have happened if Landher didn't make the tackle. It might have went back for a touchdown. I had never seen that happen before.
Well, I think the more we watch,
right,
the more we learn.
But Landher did a great job. He probably had a touchdown saving tackle, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, it takes a little bit of everybody. How do you since you were a two-sport, multi-athlete in high school, why'd you settle on kicking? People want to, they say that, well, you go with a position where you're going to get more acclaim than you are as a kicker. If you miss, then they really get on your case.
Kicking came really not late for me, but in the fact that I played soccer all growing up. I came in, started playing football, and I was kind of like getting to that point coming to middle school, you got to pick football, soccer, and I was kind of like, I love the sport of football. Kept playing, was playing quarterback, linebacker, started kicking when I was 7, 8 years old.
Wow.
So I was already started early per se, kind of kept up with it, and my progress from kicking compared to the other 2, 3 positions I was playing kind of overtook it, and I saw value, and hey, I could go make a career, but especially I can go to school for this, go get my college for this.
Yeah. We can't mention kicking in special teams without mentioning Gene Beechigo. Because
he's our diamond in the rough, I call him.
He's been around forever, like many of us here.
Yep.
Talk about the relationship you guys have with him.
I love Gino. We're all really close with Gino. He calls us, we text him, call him during the summer all the time, catch up, worrying about each other's families, this and that. But he's been an outlet for me to go to if, hey, something's not going right. He kind of calms us down. If we ever have any problems with anything and anyone, we go to him. He's kind of not the brains behind it all, but keeps us all calmed down and ready to go and get this, hey, field goal alert coming up, punt alert, get ready to get going here and get ready to go do our thing.
Yeah, it was a blessing to come along years ago and stick with the program.
Well, he's been here the whole time that I've been here, and he's been great, and he's still great. He does a great job with all 4 of those guys. I think he instills, they gain some confidence from him. He's the perfect specialist coach, so to speak. He's got the perfect personality and mentality. Like me personally, I probably wouldn't do a real good job coaching the punters and the kickers, to be honest with you. But, he does a great job, and all 4, the other thing is they're solid guys, all 4 specialists. They're great students. They do everything the right way. I mean, they're at workouts. They're doing things. Now, they're not lifting as much weight as some of our guys, but they're doing the workouts with all the other players. They don't take anything off. And it shows, it's like Nick being a good athlete. Hopefully we don't have to use him, but if a kickoff breaks, we feel comfortable that he can make the tackle and save a touchdown. Some places the kicker has no chance of making a tackle.
Mm-hmm. Were you here all summer?
No, I wasn't. I went back home.
Went back home? Okay. I'm going to ask you about the being the kicker that you are, the NFL rule of what they're doing with the kickoff, the setup and all that sort of thing. You have any thoughts about that?
I don't in particular like it, but honestly it plays to my style of kickoffs. I'm not back of the end zone touchback like you see all these Division I guys and the NFL guys, but my style of kickoff, get it to the 4-0 hang time, let it sit at the 3, 4, 5 yard line, let them catch it and try to bring it back when they're catching the ball and our guys are already on the 30, 25 yard line.
He's right.
Good luck getting it by that.
And actually, some of the pros are now talking about doing that with their, they kick it off out of the end zone. Yeah, okay, you don't have to worry about them running it back, but they get the ball on the 30-yard line. Mm-hmm. And the way that thing's set up, like I can't see how somebody's going to run it back for a touchdown. Like it just there's hardly any. I mean, there's. Right. Yeah. There's no if you're on that kickoff coverage team where you're lined up in the NFL, 5 yards from if you give up a kickoff return for a touchdown, that'd be crazy. So some of them are saying, like they were talking. There was a game yesterday. Oh, it was the Raiders and the Ravens. The Raiders went up by 7, and there was like 40 seconds left. So the conversation was, well, do you just kick it out of the end zone and give it to them on the 30, and you don't have to worry about the return, or do you kick it high, like Nick said, in the, I forget what zone they call it, and let them run it back and pin them inside the 20? So they talked, but the Raiders did kicked it out of the end zone. But there is talk about trying to create field position by not kicking it out of the end zone and making them return it.
Yeah. Do you think there'll be a change in the college game or not?
I mean,
they changed
so many. Like the NFL game's so much different in regards. You only have a 53-man roster. A lot of their special teams players are on every special team, so they can get away with that. In college, you have a lot of these kids that are on special teams and enjoy covering kicks. And actually, like, they're talking about the safety of it and this and that. Now, I see where there's not as many collisions, but, like, it hurts the kickoff return more than anything. I don't know how you're going to get, like, a kickoff return with that setup. It's just too hard. They're right on top of you already. You know what I mean? And then the ball's caught, and they're 5 yards away from you, and you got to block them. It's just in a line straight across. It's just like, to me personally, this should be the only year they do it. Go back to the regular way next year.
Well, they might do that. Nick, what's the longest longest field goal you ever made?
In my career, 60 yards. That was my junior year of high school.
60?
Yep.
Where was that and against whom?
That was actually at a summer camp down in Towson, down in Maryland. My longest in a game, I think 48-yarders. That was against our rival, DeLone Catholic at home.
Okay.
And that was to close out a half. We were coming in for halftime. It was like 3-4 seconds left. Hit that, and we were down, I think, 10-14 at the half. So that was a good way to close that and bring it in. But
did you feel pretty confident against Lock Haven?
I always feel great.
Yeah.
I always feel great going into games. I think kicking, once you get to a certain level, it becomes more of a psychological game more than anything, because you can kick the ball so well. Once you get out there, you got to learn to block out all the noise, kind of put it all away. And especially like this last week, ended up missing the first one, call it a miss, whatever you want. Missed the first one, had to go out, put that behind me, hit the next one, and the next one, hit the kickoff good, and kind of just let that ride behind.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be homecoming at Millersville, so they're going to have a few folks there. So I'm sure it's going to be loud, but that's all part of what you guys do.
That's right.
Hey, Nick, thanks for coming in. I appreciate the coach bringing you along. Yeah, did a great job, and I think your family watches this show, if I'm not mistaken.
They should be.
Yeah. They should be. That's right. Yeah, get those ratings to go up. Thanks again, Nick.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to be back. Nick Andracy. Watch for him Saturday. We'll be back with the coach and more here on Hawk Talk from the Elks Lodge in Indiana right after this time.
Watch yourself, Nick.
Since 1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served Western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
Today's best music, U92.5.
Welcome back, everybody. We're in the last segment here of Hawk Talk. It goes so quickly when you're having fun. Coach Paul Tortorella, Nick Andresi was with us, and we have right now Ned Seelhorst, who is the secretary of the Elks Lodge.
That's correct.
Thank you for stopping by and saying hello, and thanks for everything here and making accommodations for all this pretty good crowd that's here today.
Well, thanks for using us as for your venue here. We're real happy to have you.
Yeah, how did all this come about? You had some people on the board that maybe proposed it to you? Is that the way it went?
It didn't take very long. We all voted positively and said, yeah, it'd be a good thing for the lodge.
Yeah.
And get a little exposure for everybody.
Yeah. You, of course, along with everybody here, the nice thing is then come for dinner, too.
Yes. We have a full menu, and we're also taking members.
Yeah, there you go. And you don't have, we try to point this out, you don't have to be a member to come watch the show.
No, not at all. It's open to the public. Yes.
What's next up for the Elks Lodge? What do you have promotion? Have any type of promotion coming up next? Or I know you have specials almost every night.
We have a lot of food specials. We have bingo games regularly. We have a gun and cash bash coming up in November. It's a charitable organization. We give a lot of money away in this place. So
I know I have a close friend. He's been a member here 50 years. Yeah, 50 years. Maybe we can get him over here sometime. Social memberships are available?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All year long. And we prorate their dues, so right now it's a good time to get in. It's very inexpensive.
All right. Well, they can contact you here at the Elks Lodge. Thanks, Ned. I appreciate you coming by. And again, thanks for all of us here hosting us.
Well, thank you for having us.
You bet. All right, we got a couple more things. Let's see. I think I have a couple more questions here that I can get to that the fans wanted me to pass along to you, Coach. Let's see. We talked about parity, that's for sure. Oh, yes, here's one, too. We talked about all the injury situations that you have. One of the fans wanted to know, will Nathan Rogelio Santos, who played some last week, he's going to get more time?
Yeah.
He had been slowed for a while, too.
Yeah, he missed about week and a half of preseason camp with an injury. Really just started practicing the week of the Ashland game, played a little bit against Ashland, played a little bit more this past week against Lockhaven, and he'll play even more this week at Millersville.
Yeah.
He's healthy now.
From Notre Dame.
Yeah, he's a good
college. Player. Yeah. There's a question here. By the way, the all-time series is 15-3, and IUP's won 7 straight, and has, let's see, the last time we played them was in 2019. The quarterback, there's a fan wanted to know, he said the quarterback for Lockhaven, Ostrowski, made a lot of plays extending the yard with his legs and all. Talk about the Millersville quarterback, Rob Footman. He seems that he has the appropriate name, I guess, that he's pretty mobile.
Yeah, he's a lot like this guy in regards to scrambling. He can take off even if it's a pass play and run it. He can extend plays and throw it and buy time. He's more of an athletic quarterback than he is a pocket quarterback. He runs the ball with quarterback runs. So he's a dual threat guy that you got to be worrying about scrambling around, like where we had problems, especially in the first half on Saturday with the guy at Lockhaven.
How do you keep your team focused when I don't know what all they read or what they see, because Millersville is struggling? Let's put it that way.
Well, I think they get wore down. I mean, I looked at their stats. They only have given up in 2 games 13 points in the first half.
I know the second half's been.
Now in the second half, it starts rolling, snowballing on them, I guess, and maybe they don't have a lot of depth. But in watching them against Frostburg State and Clarion, they're in the game, and in the second half they get wore down a little bit. But they play well at home. They're kind of like a different team. Even when we watch them, and we're watching a team that we're playing that was playing Millersville, and it goes like every time we do it. When it's at Millersville plays a lot better than they do when Millersville's on the road. And that's like, I'm not even counting we haven't played them since 19, but we've seen them on film a ton against other East opponents that we were getting ready to play. And we always comment, well, if it's in Millersville, it's going to be a different game than it is if it's at East Stroudsburg or at Westchester and so forth. So they play pretty well at home.
They were really a power in the East for a long time. Fans would remember Gene Carpenter was there as coach/AD when the guy would coach Signetti.
Yeah.
And they have it's in a great location in the Lancaster area. Is there any particular reason you see that?
I don't, that maybe the investment isn't there. Remember when I was here in '99, we beat them for the regional championship and went to the Final Four. They were in, it was in the East. It was us, it was us, Slippery Rock, and them and Shepherd. Well, they had beaten Shepherd. We beat Slippery Rock, so we had to go. You were there, obviously. We had to go play Millersville for the regional championship to get to the Final Four.
And that first game you played during the season,
earlier in the year, and we lost like 7-3 or something.
10-9.
Yeah.
It's not often you get a second opportunity, a second chance.
Sure.
Yeah.
But again, it seems like since I've been here, we've played them there a ton compared to at home. I don't know how it's worked out like that, but we've played down there a bunch. We just haven't done it recently, but we've played there a lot more than we've played them at home.
Let's get back to, in the final time that we have here, some minutes. Will you wait till Thursday to make your decision?
Yeah.
You're going to find out, what the trainers say, what the doctors say, who's going to be available.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing. You look at the guys that are injured, they're all 5th and 6th year players. So they would be able to handle just practicing on Thursday and being ready for it. Like a young player, you probably just one day of practice on a Thursday is not really going to get them ready for a game on Saturday. But you got all those guys that got hurt in the game Saturday are all last year players. Grad students, 5th and 6th year guys, every one of them, older guys. So if they can practice on Thursday, they'll be able to play on Saturday.
Is there any one player that has a more serious injury than somebody else?
No, they're all kind of about the same, to be honest with you. Like, they could all play, or not one of them could play the way we sit right now. But we'd know more probably by Thursday, I'm sure. And it's weird. Like, sometimes you get after a game, you say, well, that guy's never going to be ready this week. And then come Monday, he's feeling better and he is ready. And then you got a guy that you think, it wasn't that bad, he should be good, and then he's not ready. It's a day, one day at a time, and see how they are by Wednesday or Thursday. We've played 2 road games, and now we've got a 3rd road game. We've been on the road. That kind of wears you down a little bit. Millersville didn't play last weekend. Yeah. So it's not the worst thing if these 5th and 6th year guys miss a couple days of practice. They have so much experience and maturity that they will be able to play in the game on Saturday if they're healthy enough.
So this is the game being at 2 o'clock on Saturday. This is an overnighter,
right? Yeah.
Unlike the Lock Haven, where it's close enough where
it made no sense to stay overnight. It's 2 hour, 15-minute drive, and you play at 6 o'clock. I mean, you'd leave Friday night to go there to just go sleep in a hotel and stay in a hotel till 1 o'clock and sit around. The timing. Usually, we say anything under 2 hours, 2.5, anything under 2.5 or 2 hours, we're going to go the day of the game. Like Millersville's a 3.5 hour drive. We're not going no matter what time we're playing. We're going to stay the night before. And we've played them at night. We've played them at noon there. I just remember every time we play them there, it's really hot. I mean, it's just every time we've played them there, it's been a nice day, sunny day, but like really hot.
Yeah, I think I can relate to that.
You can remember, yeah.
I can relate to that. One thing that we didn't talk about, and we have a couple of minutes here yet, the offensive line. Now, I know that Cotman, you said, was slowed, and I guess his back was bothering him earlier in the week, somebody said, and he was in and out. But overall, because you've got a veteran line, 4 guys that played all the time, and then Koval played quite a few games for you, half a season at least last year. Are they coming along?
Yeah, they're playing very well. Lock Haven made it tough on us to run the ball because they committed a lot of guys to the run. And usually when teams do that, you can take some shots downfield with play action and can get a couple guys wide open. But we couldn't get them open either. So I was very impressed with their defense. Everything every success that we had to earn it. They didn't give us anything. We didn't have guys running wide open. There weren't huge holes. They usually had an extra guy in the box that we couldn't get to block. But we did enough that we had the ball for 35 minutes again. And that's like the way we play football, we're not spread it out, throw it every down. Those teams can have the ball for 27 minutes and still win easily. Mm-hmm. Usually if we win the time of possession, Campy has the stat, like it will blow your mind. If we win the time of possession and have 53 rush attempts and completions, our record's like 37-5. It's amazing. So that means you got to control the ball to get enough rushes, no matter how many yards obviously you're not going to run it 40 times if you aren't making any yards. Okay, so if we get 53 rushing attempts and then you got to complete some passes, obviously. And we were really good complete. We just went a little lull there in the second half. We had 3 or 4 incompletions in a row. And then later in the fourth quarter, we picked it up. But we were pitching and catching pretty good in the first half, but guys weren't running wide open. We had to make good throws and good catches to complete passes. But the way we play, if we're going to have the ball for 35 minutes, we should win. We should win the game. And that helps the defense now. We're not scoring enough points on offense, but we are protecting the defense by creating field position, by moving the football. We just got to, when we get inside the other team's 30-yard line, we got to score more points.
A lot of penalties in that game. Each team.
Yeah, I mean, I actually liked our discipline and how we handled it, because if you watch the film and see what went on, it was a little bit out of control. And I was proud of our guys not getting involved in that. We had one that was a late hit on the quarterback. It was on their sideline. It was probably a good call, Cox. He just got the throw off and he hit him pretty good, but it wasn't helmet to helmet. So it was a 15-yard personal foul. We had 2 PI calls. One was definitely PI. The other one, I don't know how else you can cover a guy if they're going to call PI on that. Mm-hmm. And they let theirs go. I thought they covered our guys 2 or 3 times on fades. Great. And they didn't call PI on them because it wasn't pass interference. But there was a lot of penalties in that regard. We had 2 PIs and obviously the late hit on the quarterback. We had a couple holds that hurt us. So we got to obviously limit the penalty yardage, because in a big way, if a team has 300 yards of total offense and our defense has 70 yards in penalties, well, it's like they had 370 total yards. Like we had 330 yards, they had 90 yards in penalties on defense. Mm-hmm. So technically we actually had 420 total yards on offense, even though we didn't do anything for 90 of them. I mean, they got 30 on one play. And they actually had 45 on one series. They had 3 15-yard penalties on one series. And we didn't take advantage of that. They were very undisciplined, and we should have distanced ourselves and kind of put them away and not let them hang around.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line, the team is 2-0. Get ready for Millersville 2 o'clock kickoff. We hope to see you there. Listen in, watch us, all that sort of thing. Have a good practice this week, Coach. And let's get some people healthy. And those who aren't healthy, the other guys will step up, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks. You, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks to Nick Andracy and to Ned for coming by. And thanks to all of you. And tell your friends. We do this every Monday night, 6 to 7 at the Elks Lodge here on South 13th Street, Indiana. For the coach and everybody else, Mark Burdig, we've got John Smathers, who keeps us in control here, and Daniel Pisarcik back at the studio. Jack Benedict bidding you a very pleasant good evening. Have a Major League night.
The following has been a special sports presentation of Renda Media. You've been listening to another edition of Hot